Another storm taking aim, this time further south across Texas, northeast into Arkansas, Oklahoma, maybe even Tennessee, Kentucky, and further north into the east. We're going to talk about that today, plus we're going to show you what's going on right now. Let's look at what we're looking at right now. Snow across the mid-Atlantic, that's going to exit, and we've got a lot of wind coming in behind our storm as it moves off the coast, with temperatures on the way down here. Below normal temperatures will stick around, and Arctic high pressure builds in as we head into the day Tuesday. This is going to push some really cold air all the way down into the Gulf Coast states, into Texas, and the northwest flow continues into the northeast with a few snow showers, also downwind of the Great Lakes too, here into parts of Michigan, Ohio, especially downwind of Lake Erie and Ontario. We're going to get some snow showers here into New York and Pennsylvania. That will continue for the next couple of days, and it could add up quite significantly. Across the southwest, we start to watch this piece of energy and another one here. I'm going to show you a different map in just a moment that will give you a little more detail. We're going to break down what might happen because there's a lot of variability. I want to show you all the players on the field and why anyone saying it is not coming to the northeast, you might be wrong. The idea that we're even showing something here is interesting. We're not showing anything right now. I mean, once this storm is done for the next several days, there's nothing. And really beyond this next chance of snow, in my mind, it might be a while till we see another one. Let's wait, though. The jury's out on that, too. But here we go. With our snow into Texas, it starts to pick up heading into Thursday. There could be some mixed precipitation, too, on the southern side of this. And the new European model, also the ensemble guidance, is getting heavy. And it's getting more likely, I think, from Dallas up into southern parts of Oklahoma into Arkansas. That is the area that I think is really starting to look more likely. The European has a positively tilted trough here. You see this? It's going from southwest to northeast. What you really want to see for a big storm to start to dig into the mid-Atlantic is for your trough to go negative. And it's not going negative, not quite like the GFS. Look at this. Everything so far pretty close, but boom, here comes your trough. It's not quite, I would argue, neutral maybe here as we head into Friday, but this energy holds back, and you get really three pieces of energy combining, and boom, now you have a negatively tilted trough here, okay? And low pressure developing here into Georgia. That right there, guys, is a big mid-Atlantic snowstorm. And if it can hug the coast, look out. This is the 12Z GFS. It uses data, so it's interesting to see that. Speaking of that data, I want to show you why that data. Oh, by the way, here's the Canadian. Let's look at that just for kicks. Kind of has that idea, too, of a storm right off the coast, very close to New York. All right. Here is where the European deterministic was. You've got this low up here. Okay. The idea that we weren't going to have a low coming up the coast is because this right here, any energy would likely want to spin around this. Well, there's some new data showing that, well, at least the European still is trying to do that, but you're getting some distance here between your low that's just south of Greenland now. Even on the new European, the GFS, well, check this out. It actually takes that low and pushes it further to the east. It separates it with a bit of a ridging here, and now you've got your trough swinging through, and bang, it goes negative here as we get toward the end of the week. And that right there, again, is a snowstorm. So really the two big differences are being caused by what's going on upstairs, and let me show you why they are so different. This is the GFS right now. There are three pieces of energy, one here in northern Alberta, another one here into British Columbia, and then down here into the southwest. These three on the GFS, check out what happens. Now as we move into Wednesday and Thursday, these two here are going to combine to form your storm across Texas, and we're still watching this northern branch of energy. So there's three pieces, okay? The first two come together across Texas, and then look what happens as we head into Friday. The GFS wants to phase that upper level energy to the north with these two here to the south, and now you've got a much deeper storm because when this energy combines in this wave, it wants to dig further to the south. I promise you, the further it digs, the slower it goes and the stronger your storm. The GFS is really trying to show that, and we're at 108 hours out, so it's not like we're looking really far down the road here. Here's another thing I want you to keep in mind. This is vorticity. I call it energy a lot of times, but you've got some here, and you've got another upper level short wave up here. These won't come ashore and get sampled really well until Wednesday or Thursday. So we're forecasting a snowstorm for parts of the atmosphere that will cause it that are still up here into Alaska and some of it out into the Pacific. It's another reason. I'm going to go back to that idea. Don't throw the towel in just yet. Am I saying it's going to snow in Texas? I think that threat is definitely growing here, and it's getting pretty significant too. Into the Northeast, I don't think it's a zero threat. All right? Just My mind is not made up yet. I'm not saying yes or no because I don't know at this point. So here we go. As we head into Thursday and Friday into Saturday, that gets deep, and then bang, your storm goes into the Northeast. Let's go back to a more sensible map now. Straighten your eyes out. If you made it that far, I hope it means you enjoy this kind of content. I'm Travis. Welcome to the channel today. If it's your first time, I used to work in the meteorology world. I've been out of that business for years now, but now we're doing these videos on YouTube. I found myself just looking at these maps, and about a year ago, I decided to start making these videos, and thousands of you have subscribed, and a lot of you just came over the last couple of weeks. So if you want to support what I'm doing here, a subscription takes it a long way. Thumbs up if you're already subscribing. Thanks for your help. And most of all, guys, your support. I appreciate you guys coming back to the channel. All right, snow across Texas. We've talked about that on the European deterministic, showing that really picking up heading into Thursday. There's going to be enough cold air at the surface. We've got to watch down here toward Austin and Waco. I think it's more of a mix here over to Texarkana, over to Shreveport. And then as we head into Friday, really Friday morning, I think it's going to be a really rough morning commute from Little Rock all the way back to Texarkana here over to Dallas and north up to Wichita Falls with some snow. That snow could get heavy too into central and southeast Oklahoma. And then as we head northeast into Arkansas, some heavy snow likely. Now, I think the southern extent of that, at least the snow at this point, looks like it's going to be close to, very close to Texarkana anyway, with some mixed precipitation in the form of freezing rain here across southern Arkansas into parts of Mississippi. So over towards Jackson, it looks like sort of a freezing rain mix, but if you head north up into northern Mississippi, places like Tupelo, you get up toward Memphis, I think we've got mixed precipitation here into Tupelo, but all snow from Memphis up to Jackson. And look at this, putting snow even further to the north up into Kentucky. So we might get some more snow and mixed nasty weather for places like Bowling Green, Evansville, Indiana, maybe back into parts of Missouri too, back here into the southeast corner, into the Boot Heel. Maybe some snow on the way heading into Friday. This is the European. It's the least bullish of all the models, really. The GFS is showing much more amplitude to this system and much more strength. But look at the European's output for greater than 6 inches of snow. It's really growing here. And if you drop that down to 3 inches of snow, look how wide this expands, even back here into West Texas too. And as far north as Oklahoma City, and then further to the east into Tennessee. That number really growing here into northern Mississippi too. We've got now up to 70 to 80% chance now, at least here into the very far corner of Mississippi. So increasing numbers here on the snow side of things. This is the operational European model, putting a foot of snow in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area. Yeah, big snow here. 10 inches over toward Shreveport. I should say Texarkana, down to Shreveport, freezing rain, so much less. And I don't know that we get 10 inches in Texarkana. That snow line may be just to the north, and you may end up mixing with freezing rain. Anywhere you mix over to that, you're going to see lower snow amounts. I don't know that I wouldn't just rather stay snow, though, just the fact that that ice is horrible. We saw the terrible carnage across Kansas and Missouri and Indiana, Kentucky. It was just awful. Illinois. Now we've got more snow and wintry weather moving back into this region. Again, the question is, once this thing moves to the north and east, what are we going to look at? Well, the European operational, no surprise, not showing much. The GFS, on the other hand, wants to put a snowstorm down here into the northeast. And boy, does it really try to thump here along the I-95 corridor with a foot of snow or more. I'm not buying it just yet, guys, okay? Not just yet. A little early for me. Let's see where this energy goes over the next couple of days as it moves into the west. This is a look at the GFS. It's much more amplified as it moves into the south, but I think there's good agreement here into Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and then into Tennessee. What happens after that? I think the question is still up in the air. I still think there's some light snow possible. It's looking likely for areas a little bit further to the east, especially here into the Appalachians. It doesn't look like a huge snow, but it could be significant enough to cause some problems through Friday night and Saturday. Some of that snow could be heavy, especially if we end up seeing what the GFS is doing too. Again, this could just be eye candy. Do what you will with it. Throw it away. But this is today's run, the midday run with a very strongly negative tilt trough here. Low pressure rapidly deepening off the coast. And bang, that is a snowstorm going here into the northeast. If you go back to early this morning's run, a little bit different, right? Look, your storm goes out to sea. It's following that European idea. Go back to last night's midnight run, which uses a little more data. There you go. So one would ask, and I'm asking the question, and I'm not so sure. Think about the data that's being used here. The midnight run and the midday run both use data opposed to the odd numbered runs. There's 2 of those a day, and there's 2 main runs a day. And the 2 runs that use the most data have the snowstorm into the northeast. It's a dueling situation here with the models. The Canadian, again, on board with the idea of something very close to the shore here, not quite as bullish as the GFS. Yesterday's Canadian, just for some comparison here, not much. So what we've seen really today, in my mind, on the global models anyway, would be more of a shift toward the idea of something happening here into the northeast. And it's not just the Northeast. Listen, the southern part of this storm is going to be really tricky to call too. You're going to get maybe some snow into Tennessee. We've talked about that, but look at this. This is the GFS. It's usually a little heavy on the snow mix. It doesn't do as good of a job, I think, as the European looking this far out. And which, there you go, it has more of that sleet, freezing rain mix across Alabama. That would put frozen precipitation into Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, into northern Alabama, even into Georgia, too. That would put some frozen precip into Atlanta. I don't know if it gets down to Macon or not. Might start as a little bit of freezing rain on the front end of this thing and then warm up and then change to rain. But North Georgia, northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, and North Mississippi may stay all snow. Wouldn't that be something? All snow right along the Tennessee border. As we head into Friday, again, this would be your differences, but your snow is looking likely now. I don't know how heavy this gets right in this area, but this could put more snow back into the D.C. metro area, especially if we can get a stronger storm. And now, I don't know. I mean, there's your chance. Maybe into northern parts of North Carolina, Winston-Salem over to Greensboro. Maybe something happening here. And for you guys into the Carolinas, I mean, the GFS is flopping you guys over to a hard mix of sleet, freezing rain, and then just starting to pound the I-95 and I-81 corridor here into the Northeast and down into the Mid-Atlantic with cold air behind this, too. That would mean plenty of snow showers behind it from the Great Lakes down into the Appalachians. And into the Great Lakes, we've got the snow showers and the lake effect snow bands going here. Our winds are starting to veer out of the northwest, and you can see the change of direction here being shown. That lake effect starts to shut down as high pressure starts to get a little bit closer. You get less wind, and then you start to see that here across Michigan first. Eventually, it will settle down further to the east, but windy, snowy conditions here into the northeast, into the mountains, and then back here across the Midwest. Some light snow tries to move in as we head into Friday. Ahead of our storm to the south, piece of energy dropping in here, that could bring some snow showers. And then even regardless of what happens back here, I think you're going to get a reinforcing shot of some cold air into the Great Lakes. That might bring your snow shower activity back. And for the last several runs, we've been showing this weak system moving through the Great Lakes into the Northeast. It might bring some snow to the upper Midwest, some light snow. You've kind of had a snow drought. I get it. But at least maybe there's a chance of something happening here. Now, beyond all of this, what happens? I mean, right, if the first storm is wrong, everything else is going to be wrong too. But I got to tell you, this European from this afternoon, this is a cold pattern all the way into next week. If you're looking at this and look, this looks stormy. I mean, this could be one heck of a winter, like it or not. I don't know. I'm not taking sides. Personally, I don't like shoveling the snow, but that's just me. The older I get, the less I like it. All right. Some of you love it. I get it. But yeah, to each their own. I'll see you next time.